Hey guys, what's up? And today we're going to be critiquing the solves on LC Cuber's Road to Sub 10 3x3 Single Episode 1. So I've been a fan of LC Cuber for a while now, and he's recently released his first episode of his Road to Sub 10 Single. So I'm going to be critiquing his solves and maybe giving him some tips on how he could improve them. The style of this video is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to recreate his solve and along the way tell him some tips. And at the end of each solve, I'm going to have a list of tips that would probably help the efficiency and speed of the solves. Alright, so for this first scramble here, you can see that there's 3 cross pieces that can easily be inserted with this orange piece right here. So what he did was he did an F prime, a D2, inserted the green one like this, but then rotated to insert these last 2. I don't really have a problem with this solution except for the rotation. He could have easily just did an F prime and an L prime. That would have been a bit easier, but other than that, I don't really have a problem with the solution. What I maybe would have done was insert the cross like this with an R2, L prime, and then an F2 so that I can insert this orange piece into the back while tracking these 2 cross pieces here. So once I finish the cross, I know that this corner will be unchanged by these cross moves, and I can go into F2L easily like this. Alright, so right after the cross, what he did was a U, which I'm guessing was a filler move, which I would try to reduce those, and then he did a rotation. And then after that, I guess he saw this pair right here, and then did a U prime. Now that was a lot of unnecessary moves. What he could have done was just rotate. Instead of doing a U, rotate then U prime. But a better solution to that obviously would just rotate and then insert like this. But what he did once he rotated with the U prime was he inserted this pair by matching it up with R and U moves, bring it back, and then inserting it into the left slot. Now I don't have a problem with that solution, and I think it was fine. Okay, so the next thing he did was a U prime, and then he rotated again, and then did another U prime. Simpler way to do that is just do the U2 and then rotate, but I guess that was just due to the time. And then he inserted the green and orange like so, and that is a good solution. I have nothing to say about that. The next thing he did was immediately recognize this pair, rotate and insert it. That is a good solution, nothing to say there either. The next thing he did was rotate again, do the U, and then insert into the left. And again, that was a good solution, nothing there. So the next thing he did was kind of interesting. He did this grip and then switched back to then do the U move. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was because he was anticipating a different OLO, but once he did this, he went back to the regular grip and did a U so he could execute this OLO. A tip for this is to try to recognize the OLO before attempting to do moves. That way then you'll see this and you don't waste time with regrips. So once he did the U move, he did the OLO, very simple, and then he did a U and did the J perm. Pretty good solution. Things that I would recommend in this solve are to reduce the unnecessary moves, i.e. the U and U primes, and to try to limit the rotations while doing cross and while doing the pairs, and try to recognize the OLO before trying to attempt to do any moves. Alright, for this next scramble, his cross to F2L was very good. He did a very simple cross solution. It's the one that I would have done as well, and it makes sure that this pair is preserved. So what he did was L2, D2, F2. That preserves this pair, and he went into it straight away, rotating and then doing the solution that I would have used, which may not be the simplest solution, but it's the one that I do as well, so I don't have any problem with this pair. he inserted it like this, and then just inserted. So the next thing he did was immediately do L, U prime, L prime. I'm not sure why. I don't know if he saw the piece, these two pieces back there, but after that he immediately did a U. And that brought this piece over here, and so he rotated. These might have been filler moves, or they might have been intentional, I can't tell from the video. But after he did that, he did the best solution for this pair, which was to, it's the one that I do as well, he brought it over and inserted it like so. But instead of inserting it how I would have solved it with F moves, so that this pair is preserved and the slot is here, so you can easily do this green and red afterward by doing it like this. So that's set up. He ended up doing this, he did a U2, then rotated, and then put it in. I would not really recommend this because it rotates and this pair is back here, so you have to rotate back and do that pair if you were tracking these two. So the next thing he did was kind of to the point of what I said. He rotated and inserted this pair. But if he had inserted this blue and red pair as my solution had it, then he would have had it open here and no rotations would have been necessary. So after he inserted this pair, he immediately rotated and solved this pair, how I would have done it, into the back, which was a good solution. After he inserted into the back, he did a U move, which was, I'm almost certain that was a filler move. It's very unnecessary, you don't have to do a U, especially if you know your pairs down there. But anyway, after he did the U, he inserted this the same way as he inserted the other one, like so, which is, again, the solution that I use, so that's not too bad. So after he inserted the last pair, he immediately, I'm guessing, did not recognize this OLO case and did two-step OLO. I would have immediately rotated and done the OLO because I know this case, but he did the two-lit case, which is like this, and then he saw this and immediately went into that. And then he immediately did the U and did the T-perm. So overall a decent solve. My tips for this one is to decrease your filler moves, find more optimal F2L solutions, to learn full OLO for one. I myself don't know full OLO because I know edge control, so I don't know the dot cases, but I would learn everything but the dot cases for now. Again, your cross solution and into the first F2O was very good, as well as recognizing, I think, the fourth pair, or maybe the third pair. I think it was the third one. Okay, for this third solve, the cross is fairly simple, but he did a very odd solution, which I was kind of puzzled by. So the first thing he did was an F prime, then bring this blue piece over with a U prime. And then he brought this green piece over here by doing an R prime, U, R prime. And then he rotated and inserted like this. That cross solution was, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty ugly, but there are many more efficient ways that I would have used to do that. So I'm going to go over one of those ways right now. Okay, so the cross solution that I would have used is to do a D prime, put both of these down with an R prime L, move this over with a D, and I would try to preserve these two cross pieces by doing a U prime, and then finally putting this down so that I get this easy case for first F2O pair, which I could easily insert like this, and then immediately go on to the rest of the solve. So in total, his cross took 2.8 seconds, which is not very efficient, and that cross could have used a lot of work. Okay, so next came a very, very long pause, and by the end of this, he brought this edge out like so, and then inserted into the back with a rotation. And once he was done with this pair, the time was 6.1 seconds, which is very not optimal, which with only cross and one F2O pair and done, 6.1 is not a good time to be at if you want to be sub 10. The rest of the solve was pretty good. He immediately recognized this case right here, did the appropriate setup moves, and inserted it into the back. Next, he saw this pair and immediately inserted it basically the same way, but in a different angle. And then he did a U, rotate U, and again I would have probably just done the U2 then rotated, and then he inserted this pair. Then he recognized the LLO skip, did the U2, and did the F perm. So overall, this solve was bad in the beginning and very good at the end. So the tips that I would give to you are have a better cross solution and try to plan out your first pair so that there's not that nasty pause in the beginning. Alright, for this third solve, his cross to first F2O was very good, with the time being 3.8 seconds, which is very much an improvement from the last solve. And his cross solution was much like I would do it. He did RF, R, then inserted this green one into the back, like so. Then did the bottom layer adjustment. The first thing he saw was this pair right here. He rotated, brought it out, and inserted. Very good. And then what he did next was rotate again and then bring this corner out. I'm not sure if this was filler moves because this is not the best way to solve these two. I would have stayed unrotated, brought this over, and then paired them up like this, so it would be an easy insert. So after he did that, he saw this right here, inserted it into the left, and then saw this right here, inserted it into the back, all very good. There were a bit of slight pauses, but that was okay. And then he inserted this one like so. I wouldn't insert it like this, I would have rotated this way instead, so that, because this is a little bit more trigger, more like, I'd say it's a bit faster, but if you want to go this way, that's fine by me. So after he inserted this, he immediately recognized the case. And then instead of doing a U to do this U perm, he rotated, and that's a big no. I would definitely not have rotated. That is a big waste of time, and a U is much faster than a rotation. After he rotated, he did the U perm, which was fine. I use the M slice U perms. I think they're faster, but if you want to use the RU U perms, that's fine. And that was it. That was a pretty good solve. But the critiques I have on this one are limit rotations, limit the filler moves, i.e. the second pair, where you could have easily not rotated and then put the pair in easier. And limit the rotations in PLL. So instead of rotating, just do U and then AUF. Alright, for this next solve, there was again a weird cross solution. What he did here was an R2, and then he inserted this piece like so, and then did a D2 and insert. What I would have done was insert these two simultaneously like so with an R prime and then U prime, and then insert like that, and then do the D2 F2. That's a bit more simpler and a bit less moves. But anyway, after his cross, he immediately saw this pair down here and took it out and insert it like that. That is also the solution I would have done. It's, I think it's pretty fast, but other people might not say that, but that is the solution I would have used. He then saw this pair back here and inserted it into the left. Then he did something interesting. He rotated this way and solved this pair with L moves, which I would have rotated the other way and solved it with R moves, so that when I'm done solving it, this pair is on the left instead of having to rotate again to see the pair. But anyway, it's personal preference, so he rotated, inserted it with L moves, rotated it again, and immediately did R, U prime, R prime. And that is also a big no. Those were filler moves, and they're not good. You could have easily just did a U and then inserted normally. But anyway, after he did these moves, he saw that the edge was over here, did a U2 and inserted like so. And good, I give you props, kudos for doing a sledgehammer here, recognizing the edge control. And so if you sledgehammer, you knew that you'd get a nice little L case instead of a dot. And then you immediately did U2 and did the OLO, and you recognized the PLO skip pretty fast, I have to say. Did the U and then stopped the timer. So overall, a pretty good solve. My only critiques would be to find a better cross solution and to rotate to the left so that the pair is visible instead of rotating to the right and having to rotate again to see that pair. I think that was the third and fourth F2O pairs. And other than that, I can't really say much more except for avoiding filler moves. That was a big killer in this solve. Overall, I would say that your solves were pretty good. My general critiques were that the filler moves were a bit unnecessary, as well as some of the rotations, and cross solutions could use a little work in some of the solves. I would also try to look ahead to your first pair. That is very helpful in solves, and so that you don't have some of those nasty pauses that you had in one of your solves. I would also try to optimize your F2L efficiency so that, for instance, that one solve where you had to rotate to see the next F2L slot instead of rotating the other way in the first hand so that you would see the F2L slot without having to rotate again. And one last critique that I would make about the whole entire session is to turn a little bit faster. I know that turning faster will decrease your look ahead, but turn the cube a little bit faster every time, your efficiency and your look ahead will go down a bit. But if you just speed up a little bit and then work on your look ahead for that speed and then keep doing that, your look ahead will eventually catch up to your speed of your turning and your times will improve. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope to see you guys next time, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, bye!